Welcome to the Hector Jesus Show. I am your brother in fashion, fitness, finance, and family, El Señor Romero Miliano, Pablo Hector Jesus. First and foremost, you know that I gotta shout out the gang. That's on my greatly ambitious, intellectually noteworthy gentleman that's aggressively neutralizing the game. 365 days of the year. And as always, I got my co-host with me, the stock trader, model data, straight alpha, never beta. He might just caress your bitch in the elevator while we sit back with a glass of yak and a pair of gators. JB, say what's up to the people, baby.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming in, everyone. Hello.
Yeah, we got a very, very special panel. We've been anticipating this for a few months. You guys seen them on my show. If you guys are some OG watchers, you know you've been tuned into the Hector Jesus Show, then you know who these people are. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves, starting from my right, going this way. Go ahead, introduce yourself to the people, brother. Oh yeah, ladies first. I'm so sorry, Miss Victoria. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Victoria Elizabeth. I'm a music artist. And I do a lot. But tune in to me. My music's on all major platforms right now. So
What's your IG?
my IG is Victoria Elizabeth. So TAG Victoria Elizabeth. No, I
There you go. Proper introduction. Yeah. All right, so we'll go this way then. Go ahead and introduce yourself, my brother.
What's up, everyone? My name is Israel Zavala. First thing, Hector. Juan, thank you for having me here on the show.
You've been behind the scenes all this time.
Yeah, he's been behind the scenes. Oh yeah, for those who are OG watchers of the Hector Jesus Show, this is Israel. This is who gets everybody right with the drinks, man.
Yeah.
This is the cigar smoker. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna come up with something for you
Fake
too,
Cubans.
but you know what I mean? But go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
So I'm a North Carolina broker. I'm an agent here, and that's just one of many things that I do. And I'm excited for how this conversation is going to go, and I'm glad to be here.
There you go. Feel the love. Introduce yourself, my brother. Yes, sir.
All right. Kiro Malik. I am a financial advisor with Northwestern. Sitting two over to my left is a client of mine. Sitting straight in front of me is another client of mine. Very, very happy to be here. And I'm from Jersey, so this is a new scene to me. But very, very excited to
Welcome
be
to the
here.
city.
Thank you.
There you go. There's plenty of love to go around. You guys. Only on the Hector Jesus Show. What about you, my brother? Introduce yourself for him, man.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jose Rodriguez from New York. I'm in real estate, whether it's developing, investing, licensed agent. I pretty much do it all. And also team leader of the Built from Pain movement, which is my personal, movement that I run, helping other men basically get their shit together and become better men. So I'm happy to be here, brother. Thank you for the hospitality, and I look forward to the show.
There we go. Welcome to the Hector Jesus Show. I want to personally appreciate everybody who came, everybody who's showing love, everybody who takes this show seriously. Me and Juan put a lot of work into this, a lot of behind the scenes work as well, getting ready, making sure the research is right, all the numbers are right. We're not just getting here talking blah, 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 just so you guys get views or nothing like that. Like we're really doing the research. We're really putting our all into this. I mean, we've done this sick. We've done this good, healthy, but just to show everybody, especially the viewers, that, we're in this for real. And, I hope you guys could take something from this, and oh, Hector, why you got the shades on? Look, man, I'm gonna give myself a round of applause because the life that I come from, the neighborhoods that we come from, we're not expected to live this long. And by the grace of the Most High God, 30 years old, it's a blessing. I feel blessed. I look young. I look like I'm 22. I mean, I'm going to give myself another round of applause. Drink your water, work out. We got a very special show planned today. Let's see who's engaging right now real quick. because really we wouldn't be able to do it without the viewers. You know, the viewers are the main guys who sit there and support us. Remember, y'all, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. You know, we really got the premise of the show right here. Greatly ambitious, intellectually noteworthy gentlemen aggressively neutralizing the game 365 days of the year. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this, especially guys being this young in their early 20s doing the things that these guys are doing. And you forgot to tell them, Kiro, Hector's personal financial advisor. So it ain't just a regular financial advisor, it's Hector's personal financial advisor. So, you know, don't shy away from that title, man. That's a heavy title. But let's get into the show, you guys. You know, the Hector Jesus podcast with Juan Bravo. You know, we're gonna talk a lot of important topics. We're gonna get into you guys a little bit first. So we'll start this way. Jose, Built from Pain movement, man. Tell me about it.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. So I decided to begin something like the Built from Pain movement. I want to say it was February 2021. And the reason I decided to commence a movement of men that were, you know, in the game, focused on building their life, whether it be health, relationships, and wealth, right? I saw a lot of people, they were just, you know, one-dimensional, right? Whether they were just going to the gym, but they didn't have their finances in order. Whether they were, you know, making money, but their game with women fucking sucked and they were out of shape. There were many flaws that I saw around, you know, a lot of people, you know, a lot of men, right? Because what makes a complete man great is to really have all three. Health, you know, be in great health mentally, physically, have amazing relationships, not just with women, but also with high-value men like the men in this table. And then obviously have your finances in order. I really didn't see a lot of men that were competing around me and looking to just get together and become great. So I saw it within myself to lead myself to create something like that because the world needs it, especially in today's world where we see it all the time. You know, men are becoming softer. They're not really doing the things that they want to do because of whether it's societal pressures or whatever, you know, family, women, teachers, parents, so many things that are going on that are indoctrinating men to shy away from their masculinity. So the Built from Pain movement really focuses on a man, you know, empowering himself to become a better man and a greater man so that not only he can protect himself, but he could also protect the people that he loves. So I decided to, you know, create the Built from Pain movement and found the Built from Pain movement as basically as a safe haven for all the men that were looking to become better and become greater, and they could become a part of a circle where they could ascend to a different realm where they can be in power.
And these guys are deep, y'all. So for those listening, man, these guys run deep, man. And I want to make it a point to say this, and I said this when we were having dinner earlier. You know, when we did the toast. This isn't a table of men that's getting together to plan to break into a house. This isn't a table of men that's getting together to plan on how we're going to bust down this brick and, you know, poison our community. This is a group of men that's getting together in order to better themselves by exchanging information with each other, holding each other accountable to these rules and this moral compass of principles that we live by in order to become better. So for those who look to us, those who want to be led by us, not just women, but also young men, and sometimes even older men who probably didn't have this information growing up in youth, can look at guys like us and be like, you know what? I aspire to be like him, or I want my son to be like him because I didn't go through the trials and tribulations and or struggles that this man went through in order for me to be able to raise my son the right way. So if he's going to look up to anybody, I'd rather him look up to somebody like these men at this table, because it's important, especially with men of color. You know, from the neighborhoods that we come from, typically that's the path we choose, is that fast money, that glamorous hip hop culture, street culture that we all fall victim to, and, you know, ultimately it being our demise. But fortunately for us, well, you know, I did fall into that path for a few years, but by the grace of the Most High, God, we're done. But young guys like this, I'm talking about these young guys who are able to come from the same neighborhoods that we all come from. So don't think these are some square guys who, they probably had things handed to them. I mean, you was telling us earlier today how you were 7 when you came to this country. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
Young.
Yeah.
Couldn't
bro.
even speak English.
It was different, man. You know, I come from a place where we didn't even have hot running water, bro. We were showering outside in the backyard with cold water, living in a 400 square feet house between my mom, you know, my 2 brothers. And it was hard, you know, it was a hard life, but, you know, all of that made me the man that I am today. So I'm grateful that I went through that adversity to be able to mold myself into a beast, you know. So
Thus the Built from Pain movement. You can't become a man without struggle. You can't become a man without being under pressure and being under certain circumstances that ultimately mold you into being a man. Because only men get molded under pressure. You know, the ones who fold, that's the weak guys that you see walking around. That's the guys who, unfortunately, today, you know, they're the epitome of weak men. You know, they have no sense of self. There's no value. I mean, men, we're not born with value. We have to create it, you know, or we're valueless. But moving on, Kiro, so, you know, tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Yeah, so, at first, everybody out of here, we didn't meet in the parking lot, right? That was a joke. But I met Jose first, actually. He's the first person I really, really met about a year ago. I was part of a group called Modern Success with Brian Casella, person in real estate. And I joined the group because actually Jose kind of sold me on it during this dinner thing we're doing. He was clever because he's a good salesman. And and I got in, and it was a good ROI because I connected with Israel and talked to him about what I do as an advisor, right? And then Israel connected me with Hector. And so, you know, fast forward later, you guys both became my clients, and I've made a feature here on the podcast before when I was in Jersey at my home, and now I'm here. So it doesn't say much about me, but how I met everybody here. I migrated here when I was 10 years old, so a little bit later after you. And it was the same story, right? Like I barely spoke any English. Life was difficult. I got bullied. It was very hard. I'm an only child, so you know, it was difficult coming here. My parents were well off. They didn't need to do this. They didn't need to come here, but they came here for a reason. And I kind of woke up and started realizing I need to be a better person, a better man. I need to work on myself because you know, my mom was a teacher. My dad was a big engineer at this company, and they left everything behind to come here and work. Like my mom, she lost the first 6 months, she lost like 30 pounds and got depressed because she was cleaning toilets. So going from a teacher to cleaning a toilet, you know? So at a certain point when you're in school, you don't really realize like you need to be a certain type of man, a certain type of way of how you move. You need to grind, all that. And I pretty much realized that, you know, like probably a year or two ago, and just started the journey. And I joined Northwestern Mutual as a financial advisor, quickly rose up through the ranks. I finished as a top 20 advisor in the country last year. Just recently hit. So these are terms that are not going to make a lot of sense to people, but we have a accolade within the company called Impact or Impact 40 or Pacesetter 40. I just hit that 2 days ago, so it's a very big deal. It just, you know, being in the financial planning business, there's certain metrics you got to hit, just like you guys are in real estate. So there's certain things you got to do. I know you guys are not affiliated with like a broker dealer or somebody that's huge, but all this stuff has really only happened, and my success has happened because I've decided to change my personal habits, what I do every day, how I do things, what I read, what I consume, all that stuff. So I'm just here to kind of relay that message to whoever could listen, because I think everybody on this table, we talked about this earlier at dinner, and we said that everybody here was, you know, I asked you guys around the table, I said, you guys were all probably like, you know, just lack a better word, we're all losers here, right? And we all turned ourselves to better men, better people. And I asked what the turning point was. So I wasn't, you know, Israel wasn't the man he was. You weren't the man you were, Hector wasn't, everybody, Juan. But I'm here to talk about how what that journey really was and what things happened for me to get there. So that's a little bit about me. So.
What's your purpose? What about you, Izzy? Tell me a little bit about yourself. I mean, even though I know you personally, but for those who are watching, the listeners, the viewers who don't know who you are, because everybody, one interesting thing, man, about everybody that's in this table is that everybody had some sort of obstacle against them. Whether it was no father, whether it was no mother, whether it was coming from a different country, not speaking the language, everybody had something something that could easily lead them astray into a path to where we would ultimately be, quote unquote, another statistic, right? For these kind of people from where we come from. But fortunately, somewhere down the line, we was able to, I mean, for lack of better terms, get an epiphany and realize, like what you said earlier, what was it that made you realize, you know what? I don't want to be this man. I want to be a greater man. So for those who don't know, Izzy, tell them a little bit about yourself, you know.
Yeah, so I was born in New York, and I was raised only by my mother. And when I lived in New York, we used to live in like a 600 square footage apartment with 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, with like 6 people living in there. And when I turned 6, I moved down here to Charlotte with my mom, my auntie, and my cousin. And growing up without a father, I didn't have a role model, a male role model to teach me certain things that a mother can't teach me. And so growing up, I always looked up to my cousin. And, you know, I went to school. I made friends. However, I was always around the bad crowd, you know, the crowd that always skips school, smoke weed, and, you know, et cetera, do things a lot worse. And it went on like that all the way up to junior year. And when I took a second to reflect back into my life and take a look at the path that I was heading, and taking a look at the people that were in my circle, where were they at? Where were they at? Some of them already locked up in juvenile, and some of them dropping out of high school. It was very clear to me on who I was becoming and the route that I was taking. So my junior year, I ran into, Brian Casella on YouTube, and there's something about Brian. I don't know what it is, but there's something about Brian. And this was before he blew up. And so I was watching, the videos of him actually doing the work, going out door knocking and stuff. And I'm like, real estate? I don't know anything about real estate. Becoming a real estate agent, going out door knocking, salesman? Fuck it, I'll do it. And so I graduated high school, and I didn't go into college. I didn't have the best grades because I was skipping school. However, graduated high school, I took my real estate course. I was constantly expanding my mind to things that I would have never thought of running into if I wasn't aware of the kind of circle that I was in previously, right? So I was studying my scripts. I was learning what equity meant. I was learning, what a FHA loan was. And it was the hardest course I've ever took, even still to this day. And I studied for about 8 hours a day for a full month, and I failed by 1 question. I went back in, I retook the course, right? They gave me another try, I failed. Anyways, I went back in, I took the course again, and I passed. And, my turning point was, just to backtrack a little bit, when I was a senior, I was at rugby practice, and my cousin, he was doing a bunch of dumb shit, and somebody broke into my house with my family in there, and I wasn't there. And at that moment, it was a realization of, this isn't the life that I want to live, and there's so much more to life than, doing illegal stuff, to where I just can't live like this after high school, right? So that was my turning point. Going back to taking the test, I got my license. It was like 2 years ago, right? The Bill for Pain movement when it got started?
February 2021, I believe.
Okay. So I got to know Jose through Brian, right? And once I joined the Bill for Pain movement, it really did change my life, because in that movement, not to go on a rant, not only are we always constantly sharing ideas, to elevate each other, but we hold each other accountable. We do business with each other. I share my resources to that person because it can help him out. And having a constant group of men around you, it's almost like what they say, the 5 people who you associate yourself with. I don't know it word by word,
You
but you
associate
become that
yourself
person.
with 5 dumbasses, you're gonna be the dumbest
the
one.
sixth
yeah.
dumbass. There you go. So yeah, that's who I am. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, a real estate agent, and that's what I do.
Okay, now Miss Victoria, since you're the only female on the podcast, on the panel, we're gonna get to the meat and potatoes of why this is important from a woman's perspective. Okay, so what are 3 things that you look for in a man?
Okay. All right, so I want them to be strong, because like if they're not strong, like they wouldn't be able to protect you. You know what I'm saying?
Talking to the mic. Yeah,
sorry.
fix them.
Yeah, like I want them to be strong, and like by strong I mean like mentally and also physically, because like if they're strong like physically, they obviously can protect you like when you're out, or like if someone were to come in the house or whatever, pray to God, hopefully not. But yeah, so like you would want them to be obviously physically strong, and then also for other reasons. But anyway, so
Just
got
got
that
that
one.
in there real quick.
also like they need to be mentally strong, because they need to be able to make decisions. So like, okay, so I'm 27. I don't have kids yet. I do want to like have kids, but I want to like get married first, then have kids, hopefully. And then, yeah, so like if you do that, then like he needs to be mentally strong, because if you're at that point, like having a baby or something like that, then it's like he needs to make decisions, because you're, maybe a pregnant woman, and like, how you have different things you're worried about, your child or whatever. And like he needs to be able to make financial decisions and like other decisions that like, will directly affect your family that you're building together.
So a leader.
Yeah.
Someone who you could submit to willfully, yield to their leadership, be able to
Yeah.
guide you through life and your children.
Yeah.
Okay. 2
Yeah.
more things.
Okay, 2 more things. Okay, he needs to be,
'Cause you technically said 3, but we're
Okay.
going to roll all of that into one.
Yeah.
Strong, physically, mentally, leadership skills.
yeah. Okay, so he needs to be, also like fun and charismatic and like have a personality, because it's just like, okay, you're gonna be like potentially married to this person for however many years. Like, you want to have fun together, like you want to do things, you want to like, run around the beach, whatever, like, and it's like if it's like he's like Mr. like grumpy, like literally 24/7, and also in the house like that, like that's like not fun.
So game.
Yeah.
Gotta have a
yeah.
game, yeah.
Yeah, and like I guess like caring, like really care about you, like really care about like taking care of you, and like care about you like as a person, because like if he's not like, I'm not gonna say sensitive, because like I don't really like
You want masculinity, you're attracted to masculine men.
Oh, okay, that's another thing. He needs to be like really masculine, because it's just like I'm a feminine female, and like I enjoy being that. So it's just like I would like a manly man to like be that, and all things that come with that.
Okay, so this is I'm gonna wrap up everything she said into 3 words. Provide, protect, and provision. That's what she wants. The 3 P's, the basic principle of a man, right? Being able to protect, provide, and provision for that person, which isn't easy. Why? Because you need to be mentally strong, physically strong, competent, because it don't matter how strong you are if you're not competent in the decisions that you make, therefore making you a good leader, a competent leader, someone that a female could willfully yield to your leadership, to where you can guide her and your children through life and not run you into a wall or run you into a hole, to where she could feel comfortable being able to be guided by your leadership. Because one thing you said too, very important in this really another premise of this podcast, of this show, is masculinity and femininity. We forgot what these words mean. Men can't be feminine. Let's get that out the way. A few episodes ago, somebody said, right? One of our guests said, I want a man who is in tune with his feminine energy. Let's get that out the window, y'all. There's no such thing as a man being in his feminine energy. And if he is in feminine energy, he's a feminine man. And more than likely, you will lose respect, admiration, attraction, love for this man, because biologically you are hardwired to want a masculine man who can ensure your protection. So let's get that out the way. And when women are masculine, you can forget about being with a masculine man, because we're going to look the other way. We do not want masculine women. No, we don't care if you got the bag, or we don't care if you're bossed up. Men don't care about your money. We don't care how much money you have. We don't care how much status you have. All we care about is the traditional attributes that come with femininity. But, you know, I'm not about to go on a rant.
Can I say something quickly about that? I think women got to understand that with the femininity, that's the feminism, right? The different word that's going around right now. You got to understand, men really don't find that attractive. Like, I don't know who sold the idea.
Feminism did. You said it.
Right. Yeah, I don't know who sold that idea, but there's nothing, you can go around this table and ask everybody here. There's nothing that we find more attractive, like not attractive than a woman's like, I don't need no man. I got the income. I got this. I got that. I don't need you, da, da, da. And in return, it also makes the woman later on depressed, because she'll choose to pursue career, education, all this stuff. And later, you know, as you said, women's value go down as they age. They're more likely to be alone. So they go home and they're 50, 55, they're CEO of a company, whatever, and they go home to a cat, right? Yeah. That's not going to make you happy. And I would disagree just earlier, tiny bit with the feminine thing. I think some men need to be in tune with just being a little bit like vulnerable, right? That's when you really elevate to being a higher level man, in my opinion.
Well, what's your definition of vulnerability? I'm glad you brought that up. I want to know what, because there's an objective definition of the term vulnerable, right, and then there's subjective definitions that come from people's perspective of the word. So in your opinion, and then I'll say the actual definition. So in your opinion, what is your opinion of the word vulnerable? Because actually, before you answer, right now, that's a big thing in up and down, you know, the post that we've been posting of a lot of people are saying, oh no, like you want a woman to be vulnerable too. If you can't be vulnerable around her, she's not the one. And I 100% disagree with that. But go ahead and articulate on that.
So let's get one thing straight, right? Vulnerability comes from a place of strength, right? So already you're operating from a place of strength.
Well, define vulnerability for me, please.
So vulnerability is not thinking that you always have to be this guy that is a certain way, says a certain thing, because that actually kind of makes you look insecure, in my opinion. Now, I say this because this is how I used to be personally, and I've come to learn that while I'm a man that I respect myself, I have that masculinity, I already know that I'm the man who I want to be. Now I can be more, open to sharing my ideas or a certain thought, like not walking around thinking that, you know, your pants don't stink or whatever they say, your shit don't stink, right? And that's actually comes from a place of security, being secure in yourself. So what I mean by that is again, being able to admit when you're wrong, when you're in a relationship, if it's business, if it's personal, taking time to assess yourself, sharing that, hey, look, I might not know the answer to this. And this doesn't just go in business, it goes in a relationship too, because you could be in a relationship and you have to think you have to wear the hat of being a leader. But a leader's always, you know, I'm a leader, and there's so many times when I'm wrong, and admitting that to a woman for us sometimes is, we think that's a weakness when it's a strength. Like, hey babe, listen, I don't think I'm doing the right thing here. you're better at me than this. Or I'm not talking about going on, because people look at a spectrum and they say, vulnerable, you're a bitch, you're feminine, or it's the other side, you have to be like a hyper masculine male, right? There's always a common ground for things. You can be right in the middle, like common sense, calm, cool, collected, but knowing when to be humble, or knowing when to be, when you're wrong, when you're not right about things. Again, whether I'm talking in general, but since we're talking about male dynamics, it could also be just in a relationship in general. So knowing when you should be humble, because if you're walking around and you think because you learned the shit about masculinity and stuff, and that nothing you say is ever wrong and you're the shit, that's for me, that's just not only wrong, but it's toxic.
Yeah. Well, I would actually label the explanation you just give as transparency, accountability, and humility, rather than vulnerability, because by being able to share, right, your thoughts, what it is that you feel or you're going through, you're being transparent at that point, right? You're being transparent where, you know what, this was a little bit difficult for me to go through. However, I got through it. You're being transparent. You're letting them know what you went through that struggle,
right? But
still maintaining that strength. Admitting when you're wrong, I would classify that as accountability. I'm accountable for my mistakes. I'm accountable for my errors. And I'm not afraid to admit it because I'm so sure of the man that I am. Right. And then I'd also step into humility, because when we talk about vulnerability, right? If we look at the definition of vulnerable, is being susceptible to physical or emotional attack, right? And, you guys could look it up for those that are watching. Look up vulnerable, susceptible to physical or emotional attack or harm, which is a completely different it's different than transparency. It's different than being humble, because, you're right. That comes with masculinity, being able to admit when you're wrong, because I think everybody in this table could agree we don't have all the answers. We're still living through life. We're still young. You might have some answers in your short 21 years of life that I wasn't able to see. You might have some answers. You might have some answers that I wasn't able to see. Therefore, through my humility, me being sure of who I am and who I want to become, I might come to you. You being 9 years younger than me, you being 6 years younger than me. You're 24, right up, Kiro? 23. You being 7 years younger than me. Hey, Kiro. Hey, Jose. Hey, Izzy. What would you do in this situation, right? Because I'm sure of myself. So I have that humility. I have that transparency to where I could come to you and say, hey, I don't know this. What do you think? Me being transparent. I was wrong. Me being humble. Me showing humility, right? Versus me being vulnerable, which if you do have to be vulnerable, like I've been telling you guys, be vulnerable with a man that you admire and respect, to where you could, I'm allowing myself to be susceptible under emotional or physical harm because I trust this man's word. I trust this man's competence. He's been through similar struggles that I have been through. So the advice that he shall give me can only better me in my path. But being vulnerable in front of your woman, right? The person who looks to you for that guidance, the person who looks to be vulnerable with you, in my opinion, is irresponsible, because you are the leader of your home,
Yeah, I totally, no. There's nothing that I wouldn't disagree with you there. I'm just saying, like, it's Victoria, right?
Yeah.
So what Victoria was saying earlier, like when you get in a relationship with somebody and it's a long-term thing, you really always want to put up that wall. And maybe, again, I'm just saying this because of my personal life. Mm-hmm. You guys are not understanding what's on really the depth of it. But I'll just say that I used to be a person that always had a wall up, right? Mm-hmm. So letting that wall down a bit, it's just me talking to myself.
A wall in what, though?
Like not really showing weakness, not showing...
weakness how?
Okay, so not showing when, things are tough or whatever, or just like not relaying your feelings to... If you're with a woman for the long term, mm-hmm. right? You need to understand there's going to be, like, she's going to like you and respect you if she knows you're strong, you have a strong mindset, you have a strong body, you have leadership skills, you got a business going on, or, a high-paying job, whatever it is. But she's really not... A woman needs to feel cared and loved about. And if she doesn't get that because you're not, like, letting yourself be sometimes just, like, open to being soft with her a little mm-hmm. bit, right? And I'm talking like intimately. Again, this
like,
is
like sexually like intimacy, like
yeah, like intimacy where she's going through something and you're just like, oh, you're not willing to listen to her vent and stuff like that. I'm not talking about the outside, right? If I'm looking at you as a sergeant to lead me into battle, and you come and say, oh shit, I don't know what I'm doing, then yes, that is very irresponsible.
Okay, so
right?
if I got
so we got to just 1 second. So we got to distinguish that what I'm saying, because I think I know the angle you're taking, but I'm saying I'm coming from a completely different way. I think the best thing I said was the way of using the army analogy, because you are the leader, the sergeant of your home when you have a wife and kids and you're leading them into battle, which is life. So you can't say, hey, I don't know what the fuck's going on, you know?
Yeah. So you're saying as far as in like, because you said between a woman and a man, as far as what, allowing her to be vulnerable with you, her sharing her emotions, and you not putting up a wall to where I'm not willing to understand what it is that you're going through, or or you allowing her into what it is that you're going through. What do you mean?
The first thing you said.
The first thing? Okay.
Yeah, the latter, not the former, not the latter.
Okay, so okay. There's this book, I keep bringing it up because we've been talking about relationships a lot lately. There's this book called Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, right? If you're in a relationship, I think you should read this book. It's a very good book. Now, like I keep telling y'all, don't take everything verbatim. Use what you can. It's a general analogy of the dynamic between men and women. So, for example, typically, and you know, this isn't verbatim, but this is in a nutshell. Typically, when a woman has an issue and she comes to her significant other, to, you know, that being a man, we're talking about heterosexual relationships, goes to her significant other to share those struggles that she's going through. She just wants to be heard. That's so right. As a man, it's you. But naturally, as men, we're inclined to solve that issue, right? We want to solve that problem. We're natural problem solvers. We're more logical. We're more competent. We work with our hands. We're more visual, right? Same thing with when they ask us. I mean, when we're being transparent with them, we don't want to hear your solution. You know what I'm saying? Like it used an analogy, and I'm gonna read it for you guys. They used an analogy. It was very, very.
Hector, before you move forward,
yes,
man, what do you think men don't want to hear the women?
Why do I think men don't want to hear women?
Yeah.
Well, I think that if you love a woman, you're gonna hear her, right?
Okay.
But the reason why I think a lot of men don't want to hear them is because of that. They want to offer the solution. All right, look, just do this. And they don't want to hear her feelings. They don't want to hear her emotions.
What if you're with a girl that's smart? What if a woman that's supposed to be your wife, like, you look at her and she knows she's going to be the first teacher to your kids. She's smart. And the input that she's giving you, it might be 100% right.
Yeah.
So what makes you be better than her?
What makes me be better than her at what?
What makes you want to feel like she doesn't have an input?
In what?
In anything.
As far as?
Like you said, like whatever she says is no, because I'm a problem solver. I need to be the one saying
No, what I said is typically, right? Typically when a woman comes to a man with an issue, right? With something that she's going through, she just wants to be heard. But it's in a man's natural inclination to want to solve whatever issue she's going through.
Right.
And a woman just wants to be heard. So more than likely she'll sit there and be like, oh, well, this and this happened at work. This and this happened on my way home from work. And you'll be like, oh, well, why don't you do this? And what is she going to respond? No, but you're not listening. No, see, it's because it's this way. Oh, no, it's because I did want to go to work.
Would you classify that? I have a question. What would you classify that, going back? Because you were classifying things, accountability or whatever. What would you classify that as?
Her?
Well, no, just listening to her. She comes with you a problem. You know that you need to let women vent. So what do you, what character trait is that?
From the three that I...
Well, yeah, if you want to make another one up, but what character trait is that?
Being open to listen to her?
Yeah, learning. You got to stop, try not to solve the problem, and just listen to her. What do you call that?
I would say receiving her transparency.
Trait,
no, it's not a character trait, but I would receive it as, I would say maybe, being allowing yourself to receive what it is that she's going through.
Okay. So I would say that's more just it's the wash of the ego, right?
What do you mean?
Well, the reason we try to solve problems as men is because we're trying to get respect. All right, we could agree on that. So sometimes it's very hard. Like I've been in relationships where the woman comes to me or my girlfriend will come to me and come and say things and I got to sit and listen, right? That's very hard because your ego wants to solve a problem. So that's what I would say is being vulnerable to drop your ego. That's a spiritual thing. So the problem I have with like the red pill and all the stuff that's out there, they really just take a way of like taking the human element away from being a man, right? Like on the spiritual side, we were talking, Juan earlier, we were talking about spiritual stuff, right? And one of the biggest things of being spiritual is dissolving your ego, right? Getting rid of your ego. Hey, you're not the shit. You're not always right. That's being vulnerable. You have to be vulnerable to drop the ego.
Would that be
so? Vulnerability is a really strong character trait, but most people, and I feel that maybe you're looking at it as a weakness.
Right.
Well,
which is not.
That's the exact definition, though, of being vulnerable.
But you can't go off a definition off Google, though. Who made the definition?
Can I say, like,
Well,
okay, so I kind of agree with both. So it's just like yes, we want like a strong man who's like able to like handle business and also like make us feel like we're secure, right?
Yep.
But at the same time, it doesn't matter like how strong you are, like how like like I'm like that guy and I'm stronger than anything, I'm Hercules, whatever. Your woman is gonna see when you feel a type of way like about anything, because it's like we've been like, especially if it's long term, so it's like we've been with you through a lot, so it's just like we've already learned you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
From like what you do when you're mad, what you do when you're happy, to what you do when you're sad, and to how you act when you're hungry. Like it's like if you have like a real female who's like really about you, like she's gonna know, like even when you don't feel good, you might not tell her and like, no, we don't want you to come to us frantic, like, oh my God, I don't know what to do, because that's it makes you nervous. You don't know what to do, like, oh my God, like I have to solve this for you. But like you can vent, you can be vulnerable, and then also like you're saying, like kind of like in an intimate setting, that's also like kind of where the vulnerability is kind of come out, because it's just like, I mean, you're just like in that moment, So
I still wouldn't classify that as vulnerability, bro. I'd still classify that as being transparent.
You gotta so put the definitions aside. I mean, I'll ask Victoria a question, right? If you're in a long-term relationship with a guy, right? Yeah. And this was the guy that you said was mentally strong, he's physically strong, he's got the money, he makes you feel protected, but you couldn't form a connection with him. Is that later on going to turn you off, or is that going to turn you off?
Wait, what do you mean I can't form a connection?
You can't form like an emotional connection with him. You always feel like there's always like something that is like, I'm not saying he has to tell you his feelings or like, talk to you about his feelings. Nobody wants, honestly, that's not like I don't think you would want that, but would you feel some type of way if you didn't, like when you were saying running around the beach or whatever earlier, right? You got to have a connection with somebody to do that, right? You're not going to pick up a stranger off the street and run on the beach, right?
No.
So what do you think later on you would want to just know that there's more of a human element about the man you're with, just like...
Yeah, but you're going to know that. You're not going to get that far without knowing that.
But I'm saying what attracted you first might have got you into be that far. Just put the definitions aside.
I don't think that, you should be vulnerable with your girl. I think you should be vulnerable with your brothers, right? Like, if you have that masculine element around you, right? Like, we're sitting at this table. Let's say Victoria was, doing something else and we were all here, right? And I share with you guys as men, like, hey, I'm going through this, I'm going through this, I'm going through this. Israel is going to look at me like, okay, Jose's going through a problem. Let me see how we can all come together and find out a solution. While as a woman, right, especially if it's your woman, she would look at that as a weakness and she would lose attraction for you.
Or try to coddle you.
Exactly.
It's okay, baby. Don't worry. You're good. You're better.
And I agree with that, by the way. I'm just voicing that.
And that's a complete waste of time, because you don't need to hear that from a woman unless you're a weak man, right? But in reality, right, like the only woman that you can truly be vulnerable with, right, if we're going to take it there,
Your mother?
is your mother. because she raised you, she nursed you. You know, she's not so interested in her survival by taking care of you. She's more interested in your survival, whereas a woman would be more interested in her own survival while she's with you, right, than your survival. And that's a hard pill to swallow, but that's what it is, because women are biologically different than men, right? We as men, we can go out into the world and defend ourselves, provide, do all the things that, you know, a man can do, but we can't fucking give birth, right? And that's, you know, a gift that a woman has, which makes us the protectors, right, of women. But because they are who they are and we are who we are, that's just the way it is. So we have to be men and be strong. And obviously, you know, I'm not saying that you can't communicate with your girl, but I think that she would be more attracted to you as a man or as a woman. She would be more attracted to you as a woman, you being her man, if maybe she even knew that something was going on, but you were strong enough to not even talk about it because she felt that you as a leader was going to get through it and you were going to, you know, make something happen. Whether as you going to her, you know, and saying, oh, this is going on, this is blah, 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 whatever, because then she will see that as weakness, right?
I think with that, like, you have to be careful because it's like a careful line, because it's like if you're kind of hiding something, then you're not being transparent.
Well,
and then like if you know, cause she's gonna know that you're going through something.
Yeah, because of a woman's intuition.
Yeah.
She gets to know you enough. She's gonna understand. You know what? He's going through something. But that's why I wanted to read this analogy. And I'm going to read this analogy, but first I want to answer the question you asked, Juan, about family for the sake of the viewers. You said if you want to solve a problem for a wife, right, wouldn't she be competent enough to solve an issue if it had to deal with the kids?
Just in general.
Just in general, any kind of issue?
Any kind of issue.
Well, she could have the competence to be.
If she's my wife, like, I picked her right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't pick no dumb bitch.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, she's supposed to be the first teacher to my kids.
Yeah.
So I'm going into the oldest women out here, pick the best one, because I know that if I'm not around, she's going to think close to me, to the way that I think.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
what's the question ultimately, though?
I mean, the question is, like, it doesn't matter, like, what you said is, like, she's always going to come to you to ask you for advice.
No, she's not going to come to you for advice. What I said is that when a woman is being vulnerable with you, as a man, you're naturally inclined to want to solve whatever problem she has.
Yeah, of course.
But women typically, when they come to you being vulnerable, they just want to vent. They just want someone to be vulnerable with. They just want you to listen.
Right, because they trust you. They
Exactly.
love you.
Yeah.
Right.
So it has nothing to do with their competence or how well they could solve an issue. It's more so they just want to be heard.
Right.
Because a woman knows when another woman is going through something, oh, what are they going to do? Oh, baby, it's okay. Don't worry about it. You got it. She's going to let her cry on her shoulder, blah, blah. And if you're going to step in and be that for a woman, you have to understand, okay, you know what? The way that women go through their issues is different. She just wants to be heard rather than me being inclined to solve her problem. Maybe it's not even a problem. Maybe she just went through a hard day at work. She wants to cry on my shoulder. So as men, we have to recognize that also. Being able to recognize, you know what, she just wants to cry on my shoulder. She just wants to vent what she went through, whatever she went through at work or with the kids or whatever. I'm just gonna listen. Okay.
I'll make a. Sorry, Juan. I know you want to talk, but just a very quick comment on that. Right? There's got to be a differential between how you're also saying something to your girl, because I mean, if something's pissing you off for work, and like Victoria said, she comes and asks you what's wrong, and you're just like, oh, nothing, but she knows there's something's wrong. Mm-hmm. If you know yourself, right, and you know you're not bitching, and you say, like, there's this guy I'm working on a deal with, he's being a fucking retard, right, and that I'm just so pissed, and you go on with your day and you're not affected emotionally, there's nothing wrong with that. That's kind of the view I'm coming from, right?
And I get that 100%, Kiro. I get that 100%.
The other side of it, I think what you guys might have, even people listening might be thinking that I'm trying to say, is sitting there, me like going to Victoria, be like, hey, look, it's so bad, the day's terrible,
yeah, but
this guy doesn't want to buy it, like, shit for me.
Yeah.
That's different, but hey babe, like my day was, how was your day? Shit, it's fucking retard, but it's fine. I'll wake up the next day and I'll go after it. Right?
Yeah, and that's why I wanna read.
But you have to have the that what I'm saying is every man should be willing to tell the person they're involved with, especially if it's a long-term thing. Like, I'm not having the greatest day, but let me hear about your day. Right.
Yeah, but that's you putting putting your feelings to the side.
Put it to the side.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Thus, you not being vulnerable
because you're the sergeant. Like you're the leader.
Yeah, but that's ultimately proving my point, Kiro. You're ultimately not being vulnerable in front of your woman. But I want to read this real quick before you go, Victoria. And this is the analogy that they used for women to understand men. For those women who, I want my man to be vulnerable. Or men don't show their emotions. Look, a rubber band is the perfect metaphor to understand. This is from the book that I'm telling you guys about. A rubber band is the perfect metaphor to understand the male intimacy cycle. Men instinctively feel this urge to pull away. Thus, when I come home and I'm in a bad mood and you say, baby, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing. I'm pulling away, right? It is not a decision or choice. It just happens. Right now, if you're consciously making that, if you're going to consciously, you know what, I know that I do this, my wife doesn't like, or my girlfriend doesn't like when I do this, then I can understand where you would be like, look, boo, some fucking piece of shit he's being a dick at work. Don't worry about it. I'll get over it. Okay, I get it, right? But it's a natural cycle as men experience this instinctive urge to fulfill their need for independence and autonomy. They pull away much like a rubber band. That's why the rubber band metaphor that is stretched to its limits. Like the rubber band, a man has nowhere else to go but back. So when your man pulls away from you, understand that he's going to come right back. Sometimes we just need to go in our cave, y'all.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just need to be alone. Now, am I saying don't share anything with your woman and be a robot? No, come on. We're human. I understand that 100%. We're human. Sometimes I might be like, hey, look, man, some fucking piece of shit at work. You know, he didn't file the papers right and it fucked up the whole day, but don't worry about it. You know, we don't need you to, you sure, baby? You sure you need me to help you? Baby, I'm here for you. I know you're here for me. I know that I can count on you if I want to be vulnerable, but just let me, like the rubber band, pull back. Let me pull back. Let me go into my cage. Let me go into my cave, right? A man has nowhere to go.
That's okay, though, as a man.
Do I think pulling away is okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to be alone, bro. That's how you solve your issues.
I think it's how you
think that's okay?
For a man to solve his issues by himself?
By himself.
I think it is. I think that's what shapes men. If a man can't solve his issues by himself, then that's when you go to somebody that you admire and respect and ask for advice. If you don't have a father, if you don't have a grandfather, you don't have somebody, then that's when you do it with God. So yeah, I 100% believe that when you have an issue that you're going through, what kind of advice, right? If it's a issue that only men have gone through, I don't need to. It would be irresponsible on my behalf to worry the woman who's supposed to be taking care of my children, right? I want all her focus to be on my children. Why would I be irresponsible and allow her to go through what it is that I'm going through? Because naturally, her nurturing side, her female intuition is going to want to help me too. Baby, it's okay. She's going to start to worry. She's going to start to wonder what it is. How come my husband is looking like this? How come he's coming home sad? He usually kisses me on the cheek. He usually hugs me. He usually smacks my ass when he gets here. And now he's not doing it.
That either way.
It's going to make you wonder. It's going to make her wonder, therefore taking her attention away from the children, who is ultimately our future. That's why we do what we do. That's why we try to reach the status, reach the wealth. So what I believe, yes, truly, that it would be irresponsible on my behalf as the leader of my household to share those feelings with my wife or my girlfriend or whoever the mother of my children is, and allow her to worry about me when I have children that she needs to worry about. So yes, it's okay for me to pull back a little bit as long as there's an understanding. That's why men, we have to be mature enough to be like, look, baby, when I come home with this mood, don't think nothing of it. It's not you. It's something that I'm going through. That's where I would say maybe you could be vulnerable if you want to use that word. But ultimately, it's transparency. Hold on. Look, boo, I go through these kinds of things, but just let me be. Let me get through it, and I'm going to come back.
Yeah,
I mean,
real quick, I just wanted to say something. So picking back on what Jose said, for me, my perspective on vulnerability is whenever I have an issue and something going on in my life where I need advice or if I'm going through hard times, the first person that I go to is my group. That's why it's very important to have a group of men that are neutralizing the gang. Because when I go to if I go to my woman and I tell her, babe, this and that, I had a bad day at work, what she's going to say is, I think you're being too hard on yourself. Just take a day off, this and that. And you know what? A lot of, let's just say this, the public, when a man goes out and you see a man being vulnerable, you know what happens? You make fun of them. Think about Will Smith. Think about Kanye West when he went up there and I can't remember what he said, but I believe he cried. You know what happened? They made memes out of him. Mm-hmm. So
even when Michael Jordan cried that one
exactly.
time. Yeah.
So
like the crying Jordan meme. That's probably the
it's because nobody
story.
gives a fuck about a man's vulnerability, bro. At the end of the day, like,
but you can't just say a blank statement like that.
I mean, it's the reality.
I disagree.
It's unfortunate, but I mean, come on, bro. Will Smith, for instance, the whole Will Smith situation. That man literally threw away his life, bro. Like he smacked the shit out of Chris Rock, bro.
He
like,
didn't do nothing about it.
You know what I'm
that
saying?
Was a simp.
I think his wife is, okay. Jada Pinkett is great, right? But like, I think she's not.
Regardless of the
holding
wife,
him.
though, he's
Who
allowing
talking
it to
about?
happen.
Will
He's allowing
Smith
it
and
to
Jada
happen. He would have
Pinkett
left a
Smith.
long time ago. And
Yeah.
real quick,
Will Smith
too,
is a bitch. I'll just say straight up.
Real quick though, to
Nah, but he's just being vulnerable with Jada Pinkett, bro.
No,
He's just
bro,
being
that's
like,
a different kind of vulnerability. That's why it's important not to.
But where do we classify
One
the
second,
limit of
1 second.
vulnerability?
You can't.
Where do we classify it?
Do you
For how
believe?
long
Let
can
me
I
ask
be
you a question.
vulnerable?
Do you believe in the red pill and all that? So, like, do you believe in it wholly? Like
I don't I choose not to identify myself with the labels of my
okay,
personality.
great. So you don't like labels. All right. So you can't make a general blanket statement, right? That's one thing I learned when I first started reading books. I took them for Bible. Who said why not?
It's not a
Who
blank.
you said why not?
Yeah, but Kiro, it's not a blank statement. It is
a blanket statement.
Because listen, when I go out and if I'm vulnerable with my woman, she's gonna lose attraction for myself. And why go to my woman when she's not gonna give me the answer?
Well,
that I'm
that's
looking
not
for?
what I'm saying. Hold on, I'm not saying when you have a problem. I'm just trying to let me go back
Go
off
ahead.
on the
My
Will
bad.
Smith point. Okay, the Will Smith with Jada Pinkett, whatever.
Pickett.
You know what he did? Like he was very he cried in the public. She was cheating on him. He took him back. That's unacceptable as a man. Now back to your point, right? I'm not. You guys are so. Again, I'll just say it. I'm not saying when you have a problem with work, you go to your wife and you vent and you complain. I'm saying when you're involved with them intimately, you should explore being more open to be just communication, like Jose was saying earlier. Just communicate with her and be vulnerable in that communication. Not necessarily when you have a problem and when something's happening at work and going to her. I think it's better to go to a mentor or a man, right? Yeah. I've seen this in my business. I have mentors. If I go to a coworker of mine who's a female, you know what she's gonna say? Kiro, just take a nap. It fucking sucks. Let's go get Chick-fil-A together. Like, shut up. You know, I'm not doing that. If I go to a man, he's gonna be like, this happened. I'm telling you.
Suck it up. Yeah. Facts. And I get it, Kiro. I get the angle.
Right. But but that's just why I agree with you guys as well. Is if you go to a man, he's gonna be like, well, look, you did this wrong. And you did that wrong. And that's why that happened. I had this happen to me. What's today? Saturday, yesterday. Right. And I went to a mentor man in the business. He said, you fucked up here. And I was like, yeah, he's right. Yeah. But when I shared the story in front of a group where there were women involved, he said, that girl's a bit, that client is dumb as fuck, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But
the person said you're
anything wrong. Else? Why would you want anything else than what
but
you're
that's
doing
why
wrong
I'm agreeing
in the
with
solution?
you. Right. That's why I'm agreeing with you.
Because you're speaking about intimacy. Yeah.
I'm
not
speaking about intimacy. Yeah.
Be intimate with your woman. Like I said,
be vulnerable in that intimacy too.
But see, that's what I'm trying to say. So it's because we can't ignore definitions, bro. Definitions exist for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like what we were talking about earlier. It's not about your subjective perception of said definition. It's the objective reality. The objective fact is that this is what vulnerable means. Susceptible to physical or emotional attack or harm. What do you gain from allowing yourself to be susceptible to physical, emotional attack or harm from the woman who's supposed to be led by you and your competence?
You know what's saying that though? Your ego.
Sense. It's not ego. It's not ego because I'll be more than likely to be. I'll be more than happy to be intimate with a woman. But intimacy is one thing.
Let me say something too, because Israel was talking about, for example, like this dude was crying and they made memes about him, right? But he didn't also mention the other half, right? Which would be like, let's say, for example, if a woman was crying, they wouldn't be making memes about her. They would be like, oh, like, you know, what's wrong? What's going on? Like, hey, what's going on? Like, everybody would be interested in wanting to give that woman attention because they would want to, you know, help the other person. But when it comes down to a man, like you were saying, Hector, nobody gives a fuck, man. If you're going through something, it's just a matter of what the fuck do you have to do to figure it out and move the fuck on with your life. And I'll go ahead and say something about what you said, Kiro, which I understand what you're trying to say. And what that is that it's not like you're going to your girl and you're bitching about your life and you're saying like, oh, this is going on. Like, you know, I'm fucking miserable, whatever. And you're having a bitch fit in front of her. What Carol's trying to say, and I'll go ahead, and you also said it similar, but again, Hector said, you know, you can't really ignore definitions. What words mean, you know, that words are what they are, right? So we also have to understand that the words that we use, we got to use them carefully, right? Now, when you're talking to your woman, right, about whatever the fuck is going on in your life, for me, what has helped me out a lot is just, look, she's going to know that maybe something is going on, but just downplay the fuck out of it. No matter how you're feeling about it, just, hey, look, baby, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. I got it all figured out. And that's it. You know, it's like, look, because then she'll know, like, okay, like, damn, I know that he's going through something, but at the same time, he's strong enough to keep me out of it. And I know that, like,
DHV.
Yeah, a woman's intuition too. Like, she'll know, like, fuck, like, this, my man is so strong that he's capable of handling any demons that are coming his way and not compromise the relationship that we have and not make me insecure in the relationship that we have, which is what a woman actually wants. When we talk about safety, right? It's not just providing her safety through physical safety, right? But also mentally, emotionally, right? Making her feel like when she's with you, everything is okay. And that's very important.
The magic word he said is downplaying it.
Yeah. I mean, I never said don't be transparent. I just said don't be vulnerable. Don't allow yourself, especially the guy, because it's one thing being with a wife. She's already submitted to your leadership. She yielded herself, right? She knows, you know what, my man has this. It's one thing allowing her in. That's one thing. But really, I'm talking to the guys who are just now dating with these girls, and they think that because women are women, oh no, be vulnerable with me. They sit there and they, oh baby this, baby that. That's really who I'm talking to. Right. When you're in a long-term relationship with somebody, yes, it's okay to be intimate. It's okay to be transparent. It's okay to have communication with them, but vulnerable. The core definition of vulnerability, like I keep saying, and I'm not gonna, and I can't stress this enough. It's irresponsible on a man's behalf to allow for her woman for you to pull your woman into the world. It's a cold world for men, bro. It's a cold world for men, and it's irresponsible for me to bring my woman into it. It's irresponsible enough to bring my children in it.
I think Victoria has something to say. I'll speak after that.
So I want to say like 3 things. So wait, what is your name?
My name?
Yeah.
Jose.
So what Jose said, it's important for her to feel like everything is okay. And that is like a really great point because that's what women want. It's just like security and to make sure like everything is okay. So then that goes to what Hector said, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't want to be too vulnerable. Like basically what I'm saying is like you don't want to be frantic. Like you don't want to be like, oh my God, the world is upside down. The sky is purple and I don't know what to do. Because it's just like, oh my God, well, I'm like trying to make the kids lunches and and I didn't know that this is happening. And then it's like, is the house okay? Is everything, you know, like you don't want to do that. You don't want to create like uproar in your household. However, what with your saying, again, your name? Kiro, okay. I'm trying to learn everything because you guys already know each other. But okay.
The parking lot.
That's the thing now. We met in the parking lot.
Yo, what's your name? I forgot.
Because you don't remember we met in the parking lot, bro.
So Kiro, you're right. So like at the same time, like you're all right because it's just like, okay, when you come in the door, she's gonna see like on your face like how you feel. Like she's gonna see it. Like if it's a girl you've been like, you know, with for a long time or even like not even that long, like a month, it really takes to figure out a man's habits, because men are like very like creatures of habit. So it's like, you know, when he's hungry, you know how much ice he likes in his cup, like, you know, like those things like very like soon on, right? And it's just
Clockwork.
like, yeah, seriously. So like it's just like not even just intuition, but just like, you know, duh, like this is what he likes. So it's just like that statement that you're saying, like when you come in the door of like, well, my boss was annoying today, right? Like that's very important, because if you come in the door and then she has like dinner made for you, she's in like a cute outfit, she just got her hair done, she's got her nails done, she looks like great to the nines or whatever, and then you come in like with an attitude, it's like, is it me? Is it me? Like, because women are emotional creatures. So it's
Hector,
like,
you know, sorry to cut you.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Hold that.
Yeah, I'm
no, go ahead. Finish,
That's
Victoria.
finishing
I'm
up,
gonna read some of the comments, and then I'll let you go. Okay, Akira,
sounds
go ahead,
good.
Victoria.
I'm almost done, but like it's just like women are emotional creatures. So like whenever you come in and you're on that mode, it's like, you know, did I not do this right, or did I not? You know what I'm saying? So then it's just like, if you say like, oh, it's my boss. Okay, cool. You know, go to the man cave, you know, whatever, and like do your thing and like whatever. And she already knows what you're gonna do, because you're a creature of habit, you know? So it's just like, as long as you make that statement when you come in, it'll probably be fine.
Now, let me ask the table this. What about that in one word? Because, you know, that we want to read some of the comments on the thing. What about that is vulnerable?
I'm not gonna answer that question. I'm gonna say what I was gonna say. You know what it is, Hector? We're doing a podcast where we're speaking to the default man, right? We can all agree everybody here is a high value man.
By default, you mean like the average
the fucking
general,
idiots. Yeah, the general average Joe's a man who's a straight loser.
Well, I'm not gonna.
But let's be honest, right? This is why I could see where you're coming from now, because you don't. If we have an average person listening right now, average man that hasn't gone through making money, getting fit, knowing how to be social and speaking skills and all that stuff that everybody here has, it's such a terrible message to tell them to be vulnerable.
That's what I'm
and that's where it's coming. That's where the misconnection is, because we're all here, we understand it. So when I say it, I'm like, listen, bro, like I've been doing this shit for 2-3 years now. I've seen, I know who I'm but then you got the average guy who's out there, bro. Like
who don't get no women.
It's already bad for them. Yeah. Like they're already starting like backwards, and you go and tell them more vulnerable. Like the message for them should be like, join the army because you're a pussy right now.
But see, you know that's why definitions are so important, because we need to understand.
But also
what
context
these words mean.
Is important.
Yeah,
too.
and the context is it would be irresponsible on a man's behalf to be vulnerable with a woman. It just don't do it at all.
It's a good message for the average man.
You know?
That's what I would say.
Yeah, I mean, like the average guy probably needs to be stronger and more confident.
Yeah, he needs to go through a boot camp. He needs to go the belt from pain movement to Jose's shit right now.
I think it's a message for all men, you know, because I will say this too. Like even dudes that, you know, are good in game, I seen them, you know, pull even attractive women, but when it comes down to relationships, right, and retaining that relationship, a lot of men get soft during that relationship because they believe that like, oh, once I got her, I don't have to be that man anymore, right? And then they get a belly, right? They stop working out. They are not making as much money. They just fall out of the fucking earth, right? So it's very important that, you know, obviously, you know, there's a lot of men that are listening that are maybe doing a lot of things wrong, but we got to look back into our history, right? As human beings and as mammals, right? If you're in the jungle and you're with a woman and she doesn't feel safe around you because she feels like you're panicking, you're insecure, or you're being vulnerable to her about something that you're not necessarily like, you know, sure about, she's going to lose faith into your leadership. And that's what I think Hector is really trying to say, that just like, you know, if you were to have a daughter and she came to you and she was crying about whatever it was, you have to be her rock, right? You have to be her rock. Just like to your woman, you have to be her rock. And if you're her rock, you can't be soft no matter what's going on through your life. No matter what. It doesn't matter what it is. Like there are some times where I come in, you know, I come home, right, let's say, and let's say, for example, My girl's like, oh, well, you know, what's going on? I could easily make a joke about it, make her laugh, and then on to the next topic. But I'm a man that I prime myself to not necessarily be affected by the emotions that I feel, because even if I were to have a hard-ass day at work or some bullshit happen, it's not going to affect me. It's not going to affect me. Like, it could affect me internally, but externally, it's going to be very, very, very difficult for you to tell that I'm going through something.
Duties, discipline.
And also,
But hold on, Kira. I'm gonna let you do. Let's.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we got the viewers. So, shouts out to the Lil Akdormi. He said no woman wants to see her man cry. Like, please. Yes, it's a no. What's a no, bro? Reiterate. We don't understand. We've been talking for a while. Stream on YouTube, fire. Yeah, so they fucking with it. Stream on YouTube. We will be on YouTube soon. Let us get all the bells and whistles right. We want to cross our T's and dot our I's, but we will be on YouTube streaming. We will be on all the major platforms streaming very, very soon. There was another one somewhere around here. There's a lot of people on. Oh damn, we're not live. Hey yo, who's closer? Izzy, you're closer. You check that live. They said we're not live.
I was just on live.
Yeah, it froze over here. I don't know if it low battery. I don't know, but where was he? At? Somebody said facts. I'm trying to look for it so I can shout them out. Where are they at? Facts. Okay, so SNMJB, we appreciate you, man, and everybody who I already mentioned. We're gonna go ahead and hit y'all with a Jewel and keep powering up. We appreciate you tuning into the show. Okay, somebody put fire mic. So if you know, it means what it means. We're spitting, so you know they're fucking with the show. Okay, I'm gonna let you say your point, Kiro, and then we'll move on. Okay, so what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say to Jose's point. I think you know, and probably change topics after this, but I was gonna say that when you're in your masculine, like you feel like you're alive, man. Like all the stuff these guys are saying. If you're in the opposite of that, you just don't respect yourself. But even when times are tough and you go to the man cave and you do the things you're supposed to and you just don't show your emotions, like, you know, internally you got that respect for yourself. And I wish like that was said out loud more to men now. Like if you are more masculine, you will live a better life because you'll be in your nature, right? You'll be in what your God designed you to be. And you'll be operating with the values and the laws of the universe, which is being a man, and you'll feel strong. But that's something that I feel like that's just not even mentioned at all. Like being vulnerable, like to that extreme, will make you feel weak.
But I feel like masculine energy and confidence is so sexy, like in a man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and vulnerability has nothing to do with a man's confidence. Like, I mean, I get it, yo. I understand, bro, your angle 100%. I mean, we're not robots. Like, for those who want to twist what I say and make it seem like, hey, you know, he's telling us to be robots. That's not what it is. We feel sad sometimes. We feel unhappy sometimes. But what I'm trying to say is, one, don't show that in front of your woman because she's looking for you to lead her, right? And sometimes women don't even know why they feel the way they feel, let alone process what it is that you're going through, man. Like, sometimes a girl will cry and they'll be like, why are you crying? I don't know. I don't know. It's been a hard day. It's like, okay, well, and then the natural inclination to want to solve that problem. Well, what happened? Like, tell me, I'll solve. You know, I'll solve it, baby. I swear. Like, what is it? Like, I'll solve it for you. Like, where do I gotta climb? Well, how many trees do I gotta like? It's in us, bro. We want to do that. We want to protect these women. Like, it's naturally in us. But if a woman can't even process her own emotions, let alone the emotions that a man goes through, so I just say, you know, of course, everybody's entitled to do what they please. But I don't think that it's you know the best thing to do. You know,
maybe it depends what it is. Like, I mean, obviously, if somebody like passes away, like, you know, you can cry and she can hold you and you can get through that together. You know, but like maybe if it's just like something trivial, like something at work, or like somebody cut you off and it pissed you off, or somebody, whatever, one of your friends is like acting different. okay, maybe that's like trivial. Maybe she doesn't need to know like every single detail. If you want to keep that to yourself, but like, you know, if it's something real, you know, you're in a real life partnership with that woman. If that's your future wife or current wife or fiance, whatever, like, you can kind of, you know, be vulnerable with her in that moment, because it's just like, you know, you're gonna go through these stages in life. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm in my 20s currently, but it's just like, you know, this life is not forever. And a lot of people, I don't know, are caught up in the matrix and they feel like it is, but it's not. So we're gonna see things happen. Like, we're gonna see, you know, aunties or parents or like grandparents, you know, go on to God and things like that. So it's just like, we're gonna see impactful things. And if you're with like a woman in that, you know, different stages of life, like, you can be vulnerable. You can cry. You can be with your woman. You can, like, you know, say what you need to say, because it's just like, those are real moments in life. And it's just like, it's no way for you to keep that in. It's no way for her to not know exactly what you're going through and like be there for you in that moment, or want to be there for you in that moment. You know what I'm saying?
I don't mean to cut you off, but do you want your man to come home and cry to you?
Not necessarily like that, but I'm just saying, like, if something like legitimately happens, like, that's like real, to where like that's where you need like comfort in that moment. Like, you know, I mean, I don't want to get dark, but you know what I'm saying, like, currently both my parents are alive, thank God, and I pray to God they, you know, stay alive for 125 years.
It's a blessing.
Whatever. But like, you know, whenever that moment does come, like, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna need somebody to hold you and be there for you. And like,
That's more what I'm talking about.
More what I think it is. I don't think it's gonna be your boys holding you while you're crying to that.
You
like,
also said, though, that you find it attractive, right, when Hector asked you the qualities that you want in a man, that he's mentally strong as well, which has to do with dealing with your emotions in a certain way.
But I think it's circumstantial. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, like, certain things shouldn't bother you, certain things shouldn't shake you. Like, so, like, if we're out, and somebody says something to you, whatever, they might be jealous of you because, you know, you dress nice and you look good, whatever. They might
Definitely
be jealous of you. So, like, you know what I'm saying? You might not let that shake you. Cool. But if it's like, if everything like makes you fucking like on the edge, it's like, okay, he's ready to fight at every second. Like, you know what I'm saying? That
Unhealthy emotions.
Yeah, so it's just like, it depends. Like, you need to be emotionally stable, and like, it's like, but like, when you need to let that, like, you know, come out when something real happens, like a real life moment, or even if like happy moments, let's get to happy things. Like, you know, like, your wife is having a baby. Your baby comes out, you know, takes his first, like, breath, it cries. I don't know, because I've never had a child yet. But, like, when that happens, like, if you cried, okay. Or if your wife is walking down the aisle and she's so fucking beautiful, you cry, okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's a beautiful life moment. Like, you don't have to be like, oh, my God, let me hold this in. You know what I'm saying? Be true to yourself and be real, you know?
I have a question for you. What do you, because I feel like we can talk about something else now, but what are your general thoughts as a woman now about where women are going and feminism?
Okay, I don't like feminism.
I like
everybody,
hearing that.
I don't know, comment on that, whatever. I don't know. I don't care.
Well, I mean, that's good. But hold on, Victoria, I'll let you answer.
Okay.
I'll let you answer, Kiro. So, hey, everybody that's tuning in, y'all, the live went off for a little bit, but we're back live. So, again, engage, y'all. Engage. Ask any questions. This is a dope conversation. So, go ahead, Victoria.
So I don't like feminism. I don't really understand it. Okay, so I mean, I grew up.
Protect her at all costs.
Right. Thank you. I grew up with, you know, my dad is a provider. You know, he's an entrepreneur since before I've been born, owned several businesses, right? And then, like, my mom, she's so loving and caring, and she's amazing. And she's, like, literally everybody's best friend. If you've ever met my mom, like, you probably love her, right? And then, like, I also grew up with my Nana, which is, like, I'm sorry to throw my hand down like that, but, you know, bless her heart, like, literally my best friend in life. So I just, like, have very traditional, I guess, standpoints in life. but literally, like, the example of a woman, and I pray to God that I'll ever be like her in some aspect or in several, like, literally praying to the gods I'll be like her. But basically, you know, I say all that to say this, like, feminism, like, I really don't get it. Like, what do you want to be? Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't understand it, because it's just like they want to, like, grow their armpit hair and, like, be masculine and, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't get it. Like, you know what I'm saying? If I wanted a feminine man, I would become a lesbian, and that's just, like, not what I want to do. Like, if you're going to have the real thing, then have the real thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Have a man or have a female. And it's just like, if you're, you know, a super feminine man, it might be for somebody. It's just not for me. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, that's not what I want. That's not what I came out here for. It doesn't make sense. Like, how are you going to lead me and you're a female? Then you're just like, okay, like, what, you're going to bicker, you're going to argue? Like, that's not cute. That's not fun. I don't want to do that.
And femininity, I mean, you know, vulnerability isn't a masculine trait.
Okay.
You know, so I can see, I mean, the first thing you said was you want a masculine man. So
Yeah.
that's something that isn't going to come with a masculine man. I mean, again, I keep saying it. You guys are talking about transparency. You know, you guys are talking about being transparent to your partner, you know. But let's move on, you guys. We've been on this topic for a little minute now. Let's talk about value, y'all. You know, men are not born into value. They must create it. So we'll start with, you know, versus women. Women, you guys are born with your value, you know. We'll start with you, Jose. What does that mean to you, man? Men are not born with value. They must create it.
Yeah, so the way that I see it, bro, and the way that it is that every single man that is born into this world must forge himself into the man he needs to be to live the life that he wants to live, right? And when we talk about a masculine man, we understand that a masculine man wants to live a certain way, right? He wants to have options, right? He wants to make a certain amount of money. He wants to have a certain amount of status. He wants to have, you know, respect by women and other men. But for him to do that, he's not going to be just born into a man that looks a certain way and then receive it. As opposed to a woman, right? If she's beautiful, right? And she has, you know, won the genetic lottery, let's say, she's going to have way more attention than any man that, regardless of how he looks, is not going to be anywhere fucking close. So a man must build his value every single day through hard work, right? Whether it's building his character by going deep within and knowing his strengths, knowing his weaknesses, what he needs to improve on, bettering his, again, all the things that we talked about, the 3 pillars, right? Health, relationships, and wealth, right? Bettering those 3 things every single day relentlessly, that's going to create the man that's a 10, as opposed to a woman. All she has to do is, you know, hip to waist ratio, right? She has to look good, period.
Fit, feminine, submissive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that'll make her a 10. But a man has to do way more to become a 10 than a woman, because she's born with that value.
What about you, Kieran?
How do you create value?
No, well, ultimately the question is, you know, it's a statement, and I just want, you know, in three words, 2 sentences. Men are not born into value; they must create it. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it just means you gotta take your edge, the sword, and sharpen yourself, right? If you wanna get better at communication, study sales, study negotiation. If you're tired of looking fat and like a fucking loser, hit the gym. Do it every day. It's gonna compound, right?
That's a Hector quote.
Creating value as a man is realizing that nothing's given to you, everything's earned, and if you want it, create that if you want that for yourself, you gotta create it, and taking responsibility, accountability to do it.
Okay.
And not blaming people. Just if I had to say it in one word, just stop being a victim. Yeah, get rid of the victimhood.
Israel.
The question was, men aren't born
Well, it
with
was a
value?
statement.
Okay.
Men are not born with value. They must create it. What does that mean to you?
To me, it means my whole life. You know, even when I moved down here and I didn't know anybody in the neighborhood that I was in, I had to fight other kids to be able to be respected, you know? So I think that constantly every day men are in competition with other men with, you know, it doesn't have to be somebody that you know, but at the end of the day, you're in competition for that next, or for the beautiful woman that's there at the, you know, whatever event you're at, and you're in competition for that next position at your job. We're always in constant competition and always in battle, in war. And if you sit back and you sit chips and play video games, you're just going to get lost into the galaxy. You're going to have no value. And so that's what it means to me.
Now, okay, what is something that a man could do, right, early in their years, 15, 16, 17, to start creating the value? Like one basic thing that they could start implementing.
I'd say pick up and read.
I would say hit the gym.
Yeah, hit the gym.
Hit the gym, especially that old, you know. Hit the gym, get around, you know, other strong men, and
yeah, hit the gym, read. I mean, and I tell you guys this almost every podcast, bro. Like, go to the gym, y'all. You don't got to go for 3 hours, 7 days a week, 5 minimum, 45 minutes to an hour minimum, man, 5 days a week. I mean, that's where you're going to start building your discipline. That's where you're going to start building your consistency. That's where you're going to start understanding, you know what, where are my levels and how far can I push myself to my limits? But somebody said this, and I think this was to you, Victoria. They said, can we define feminism?
Feminism?
Because she said, or he, I mean, I don't.
He or she.
Dreaming go Fred Roses. So, you know, he, she,
Different.
her, him, whatever. He said, can we define
Pronouns, you gotta use
feminism? That's not what everyone considers feminism. So in your opinion, what is feminism in your opinion?
I mean, I like to be a girl. Like, I like to get my nails done. I like to get my hair
No,
done. I like
not
to
femininity.
chill. Okay.
Feminism.
Okay. Feminism.
Yeah, like the term, you know, like hyper feminist,
Like the bad term. Okay.
like the blue haired, buzz cut,
All right,
armpit
I don't
growing.
get it. Like, okay, so like if you want to be like masculine and in your masculine energy, like that's like the opposite of like even the term that you're saying, which is feminism or being feminine. Like you're not being feminine, you're being masculine. So it's just like, okay, either you want a female or you want a man that you can control, you know? So it's just like, if you want that, then that's fine. And there's plenty of like feminist men out there, you know what I'm saying? And like, go ahead and couple up with them because it'll make it easier for like the girls who are like really searching for like a real masculine.
So an
man.
oxymoron basically is what she's saying. Feminism is an oxymoron. It doesn't make sense, you guys. But if we want to look at the actual definition of feminism, it's a noun, the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of the equality of sexes.
I mean, okay.
It would turn.
And if
I
you
don't
went
think
by
that's
that,
what it
Equality
is.
different. Like, okay.
I'm-
Yeah, like, okay, like maybe she's really smart and she could like do this like surgical precision just as well as a man. Okay, you know what I'm saying? That's good. Like, I want the best surgeon to work on my body if I'm getting work done, whatever, which I haven't got done. But anyway, like, if it's like, okay, if I don't know.
It's lost in translation. It's lost in
Yeah.
translation.
If you want to take that definition apart, that means everybody here would support feminism. The problem is that's not what it is in society.
it's not. Yeah,
That's it.
The translation has been lost. I mean,
Yep.
I'm for equality. Like, you know, women have rights. If we want to be 100% honest, women have way more rights than men do at this point. If you really want to think about it, I mean,
Why
there's
do you
things
say
that
that?
because there's things that women can get away with that men can't.
Like what?
Shit. You could smack me and not go to jail.
Okay, but I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I know you wouldn't personally, but I'm just saying, you know, right now women are the most liberated and the most free that they've ever been, and for some reason we still have feminism. And not the term.
But I don't think that's okay. Like, I don't think a woman should put her hands on a man.
Yeah, but they
Because
do.
it's just like, also, like, what if he gets in a rage and he's really fucking mad and he doesn't care of who's hitting him and he just like, boom.
I agree.
Like, even if it's like slightly, that's a man.
But see,
And so
Victoria,
he's
that's
gonna,
the
like,
danger.
lay you out. So it's just like, why would you even put yourself in that position, put him in that position? Like, why would you even do that? Like, what's the point?
But that's what I'm trying to tell you. Women do that.
Yeah.
Men have civilized the world to a certain extent to where now women really think that they can beat up men. Women are in the gym squatting 275 pounds, and they really think that if 3 men broke in here, beat the shit out of us, they're going to be able to do some sort of significant damage to those 3 men that broke in. Like,
To the movies too, bro.
You know what I'm saying? It's the movies. You got Charlie's Angels. These guys are beating men up. You got all these, what's the new movie that came out? The new, what is it called? Woman King.
That's a movie.
Yeah, this is a movie.
Wow.
Bro, like these women are beating up men, like big ass African men. Like these men are like 6'30", nigga, like beating these women, getting beat up by women. And it just is not reality, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think in any standpoint a woman can fight a man unless he allows it.
Yeah.
Literally.
All of this is happening though is all to weaken the man.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
To make them more insecure, to make the women fall for a delusion that they, say like, oh, well, I'm a woman and, I see it in the movies. I'm getting empowered by all my fucking girlfriends and all of us are, we don't need a man and this and that. It all comes together in one thing. And it also has to do with all the shit they put in our food, right? Because a lot of the things that we eat, right? Well, maybe not us, but, a lot of people where it causes an imbalance in our hormones and it makes us act and think a certain way that we really shouldn't be acting and thinking.
So chemically, yeah.
Bro, this matrix is not just mentally, but it's with everything,
So
right?
what do you eat?
Me?
Yeah.
I can't give away my secret right now.
Like, are you a vegan?
lettuce and water.
Okay, I'm a pescatarian, so like I don't eat beef, chicken, or pork. I haven't for 5 years.
No
I eat
chicken
steak.
at all?
I eat steak every day.
No beef, chicken, or pork for.
Oh man, see, I gotta at least need some chicken. I don't do pork. I don't do pork, shellfish, or red meat. But I need a little bit of chicken or something.
Well, I
What's
do
that word
shellfish.
called?
Yeah.
You said what?
Pescatarian, so I only
I
eat
thought
like
that was like an agenda they
fish
came up
and
with.
like vegetarian stuff. Yeah.
Mhm.
Can we, Hector, do you mind if we like spend some time talking about what makes men weak?
Yeah, no, we could. We're actually gonna get into that after. I was gonna actually, we was gonna engage into that after the whole value thing because
Okay.
I think the men not having value ultimately makes them weak. But someone said the right to vote, run for public office, work and earn an equal pay on property, receive education, and to contracts have equal rights with marriage and maternity leave. Okay, so I guess that would be feminism as well. Another definition for feminism.
I mean, that's good. Like maternity leave, like if your husband could be off for the same amount of time while you're having a baby and stuff, like that would be good. I just think like people go too far with it and they take it to the extreme. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, feminism shouldn't mean that you think that you're a man, dude. Like,
But ultimately, Victoria, let's be honest, that's what it is.
yeah,
It makes them think that they're a man. They want to, really, you want everything you want everything that comes with being a man without being a man, basically.
I mean,
like
if
all the
that's
rights without the consequences.
if that's what they want, then do that. You know what I'm saying?
It's dangerous though. Like, look at what's happening with like all the transgender, men that are competing with women in those sports.
Yeah.
Like even like the UFC fighters, the
I
men,
don't
the
know how I
UFC fighter
feel
that are
about that.
breaking these women's fucking skulls.
Yeah.
That's
Yo.
not okay.
Nah, it's not.
That's not okay at all.
I don't like that. And then it's like also like, all right, like I don't want to get into like any hate things. If you want to come for me, you can, because I really don't care. But like, literally, like if I'm coming into a bathroom and I see a grown, tall, 6'4" man staying there, even if he's in high heels, like I feel a little bit uncomfortable.
But he identifies as a woman.
That's
What happened
not
to
fair,
equality?
dude. That's
What
not
happened to
fair.
equality, though?
That's not fair.
I thought that.
You know what I'm saying? It's not fair. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Nah, 100% agree. I think that's why we lost the what was it here in Charlotte that would happen every year?
What?
Not Street
Charlotte, a
Street.
Republican state or a Democrat?
I think it's a red state.
Who won? It was
I don't know. I don't get into politics.
midterm elections. Were
But
pretty recent. But
what was it? NC the CIAA used to be here, and I think if I'm not mistaken, the reason why they stopped doing it here is because the governor wouldn't allow same sex the whole
Yeah.
trans friendly.
yeah, I mean, it's just like, okay, if you feel like something in your life you want to be this or be that. Like, be that. Live your life. Do what you want to do.
Just don't teach that to our kids in school.
Yeah, what is it? What is it?
Democrat.
Don't pressure it on the
I didn't know that.
children. Don't pressure it on anybody. Like, live your life. You know what I'm saying? But like, don't like.
They're doing that though right now, Victoria. They're feeding everybody that shit.
Even in California, though, like there are certain schools that are, taking control of their kid of the parents' kids, and saying like you can't tell your kid if he's a girl or he's a boy or whatever. And they're putting these kids on they're going as far as even putting these kids on puberty blockers is what they call them.
Without the parents' consent.
Without the parents' consent.
See, no, that's crazy.
And what's happening with that is that it's delaying their puberty so that it fucks them up bad, man.
That's crazy. See, I mean,
when it's going that far, it's getting real dangerous.
Yeah. And how can you let your kid be like involved in? Like, how can you take the autonomy of being a parent in a way? I mean, you're a parent, so you understand.
It's
like
indoctrination.
I mean, it's wicked because I think that you ultimately don't have any right over your children. I mean, you can't even discipline your child without, let's say, I don't know, somebody sees, you might just, for instance, I saw this social experiment video right on TikTok, and some guy was scolding his daughter. I found it normal, but some people would maybe classify it relatively harsh, right? To scold a young girl like that, 4 years old, 5 years old. But really, in my opinion, from what I saw, he didn't seem to do anything wrong. I mean, he said, "You're going to sit right here and you're not going to move from this spot," right? Sternly, direct. And a lady was sitting by, really, like every woman who was sitting by, because they did it a few times, got in the, in the way of this father scolding his daughter.
It's like, I think men as fathers, it's okay to be, firm, but it's just like your daughter versus your son is a different thing. Like, girls are more sensitive.
No, I agree with that.
It's just like you might have to handle that a little bit differently. And then, like, even going to what you were saying, like, it's okay to be not necessarily vulnerable. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but like, it's okay to, like, calm down a little bit for the babies.
Yeah, but that's different though. I think that's a different situation compared to you being vulnerable with your woman to where she could. I mean, with the daughter, I agree. Yeah, there's a different kind of discipline that you need with your daughter, because I mean, at the end of the day, they're more emotional. They're little girls compared to a boy. Like, if your daughter's crying, you're not gonna be like, "Be quiet and suck it up." Like, they're a girl, you're gonna cut. No, it's okay, baby.
Right. That goes back to that point. But the question
compared to
the question we really
boy.
The question we really gotta ask. I mean, I'd love to hear you guys, everybody's opinion, like a round table maybe. Is how did we as a society get to this point? Like, how did we get to the point where women are trying to be men? We tell kids that don't know what they're gonna eat at night that they could be men and they could take hormones and shots, if they wanted to, and there's no say. And why is every man me? Like, what happened? Because you guys know the poem of weak men create hard times create.
I don't really understand that thing with the hormones. It's like, if you have a baby, dude, and like that baby is like literally not aware of like literally even what society is, what they want to be, who they even are.
Yeah.
It takes a long time for people, not even just children, to figure out who they are as a person. So it's just like, for you to inject your children at a young age before they're 18.
So you would call that
kind of like insane.
So you would call that a liberal agenda, right? But
I'll say that doesn't make sense, is what I'll say, because it's just like literally like when you were 7 or when you were 13 or when you were 14, like you did not know who you were. You were still figuring out who you were as a person. Even into your 20s, you're figuring out who you are as a person. So like, how do you know that you want to be this or you want to be that? If they like get to like, as an adult and they figure that out and they feel like that's who I want to be, okay. But like, if they're saying that to you at like 7 or whatever, it could be off of something they've seen, because they're feeding our kids a lot of things. And I say our kids like kind of lightly because I don't have children, but like they're feeding us a lot of things through like whatever, Netflix, Hulu, whatever you watch your streaming service, you're like your
I'd say social media is one of
Social
the
media.
the biggest culprits of that kind of agenda. Because I mean, think about how easily accessible it is for a child to have a phone. Nowadays, a phone, an iPhone, whatever. You know, you see all these kids with like this all day, right? Scrolling through TikTok, doing these TikTok dances. But you might say, oh, it's innocent. It's kids having fun. You know, they're just dancing on TikTok. But ultimately, I mean, that explore page is crazy. Bro, you never know what you're going to see. I mean, there's so many freaks on TikTok. It's so corrupted. And really, it's just TikTok here in the United States. Because in China, a lot of these videos that you see, it's all STEM, exactly. A lot of these videos that you see are outlawed, like they're illegal to watch, they're illegal to see. And a lot of people, because I think China's capitalist.
China's not a capitalist society; they're a socialist society.
Socialist, but the government has control over what is.
The government has complete. It's like a communist, pretty much. They're a communist country. So they have total control
over what they view, what they see, what's legal to watch on TV and things like that. So that shit is
like
illegal.
You can't have more than a kid over there. Like you're capped at one kid.
I think they changed that.
They just changed it recently. I think it was like 1.6, which makes no sense.
1.6.
I swear to God, that's the average you can have, or something.
So
like that.
what? I can have.
I have no idea what that means. I'm assuming it means you could have like 2 kids, and I don't know. I think it's just 2 kids,
a boy and a girl.
Maybe, yeah. But I wanted to ask Jose because Jose talks a lot about this. So I wanted to ask. This is something we were probably talking about in dinner earlier. How do you think we got to this point, and what's making society so weak, like right now? Because I like hearing stuff about this, and I like listening to people's thoughts. Why the reason is it like things are like this right now?
Yeah, so I think that something happened within the lines of it got to the hands of some really evil people, right? People that stand for, pedophilia, just a bunch of just weird shit, bro. Just weird shit that are right now in charge of the world, that are looking to enslave men and women and children. So I'm not going to go too deep into it because,
it's deep.
It'll fucking, the rabbit hole goes very deep. But what I will say is this, right? Because we were talking about, the children, right? What's happening right now with the children is that they're making it cool for, kids to come out of the closet, quote unquote, and say that they're gay, say that they're lesbian, say that they're this. Because in schools, well, not in all the schools, but in a lot of schools, they're promoting shit like this, right? And they're even empowering kids and saying, hey, good for you. But when you're straight, when you're, I'm not going to say a normal person, but, when you're living a regular life and you're just straight, it's just like nobody gives a fuck. But if you're gay, if you're lesbian, if you're transgender, it's like you deserve an award. You know what I mean? So now when the kids are in school, they see that as like, oh, shit, like that's cool.
The participation trophy.
I mean, didn't they give Caitlyn Jenner, Bruce Jenner a Woman of the Year award?
Yeah, they did.
And then who's that girl from that guy from TikTok? He's a trans guy. He's like he went to talk to Biden. He was talking to the president for like.
There's so many of them. You wouldn't.
Well, there's one specific. There's one specific one that managed to get an interview with Joe Biden in the White House, right? And he vlogged the whole thing. And I think he's receiving some sort of award also, Woman of the Year award or something like that for 2022. Some sort of like recognition or accolade.
Like, can somebody answer my question?
Well, really, bro, I mean, honestly, man, for lack of better terms, bro, wickedness,
But I would also say this, right? Like something that I was reading on was, when we were going, to World War II, for example, and they needed a lot of men to go out and to go to the war. A lot of the women had to go and work in, in the factories back in the 1940s, 1950s, right? Mm-hmm. So the women had to work in the factories while the men were out at war, and we needed a lot of men to go out in war. So the women started to fulfill a role that they didn't really tap into until that time because it was necessary. Now, there was a small minority of women that started, saying like, oh, well, you know, women can be independent. Women don't need men. We could do this. We could do that. And then from there on, I believe that's when, you know, the whole feminism that we're talking about really actually started. But it wasn't necessarily from women that were happy. It was from women that were miserable and were actually trying to convince other women that, like, hey, like, this is okay to do this and that. Because there was a lot of women that were happily, you know, whether it was in their marriage, whether it was in a relationship, where they didn't have those thoughts, you know. But
single women keep women single.
Exactly. And now that we're in 2022, the vehicle of communication, right, is everywhere. Like, we have social media, we have cell phones. There are so many things that we can communicate, and it makes the information that we have very dangerous as well, because anybody can put anything on the internet and plant certain seeds into somebody's mind that will make them doubtful of certain things, right? So the people in control right now, they've been in control for a very long time, right? And they want you to think a certain way, which is what we're seeing, again, what we're talking about in the movies, in the shows.
And the food.
In the food, in social media. All this shit, bro. They want you to, I mean, I'm not going to get too into it because, again, the rabbit hole is deep. But even, like, with the whole veganism shit, like Beyond Meat Burger and Impossible Burgers and all this other shit, like, these are not foods that are actually good for you. Like, these are factory-made foods that are proven to fuck up your hormones.
Like tofu and all that you talking about?
Even tofu. Like, I'll tell you,
fast food.
I'll tell you one thing too. Like, we were talking about, for example, like you were saying, like, you know, it's not fair that kids, you know, they get injected with these things. But I'll even take it a step further. There's a lot of the times where, you know, the mother is unable to breastfeed, right? When the kid is born. So they have these kids, not even, you know, the formula, because, you know, maybe that's okay. But they have these kids drinking soy milk from the moment that they're fucking born. That's not good. Which could fuck up their hormones, right? And
soy is not good for you.
So
especially as a man, like if it's a boy child, that's very.
Does it have calcium?
I'm
just curious.
I think, from what I know, soy increases, like, I guess, what is it called?
Estrogen. The estrogen.
So it's just like that's kind of gonna make a feminine boy.
It increases your estrogen, right. and it decreases
another
your
thing
testosterone.
To think, another thing to think about too is, you guys ever like try to go like to a healthy place to eat, right? In your radius, like in my city, I live in East Brunswick, New Jersey. It's so easy to find a McDonald's. Like, I'll find 4 McDonald's around the perimeter I'm at.
Yeah, they're all in the hood.
But everywhere. if I want to, and that they engineer it real estate wise, they engineer it like
McDonald's,
that, right?
Taco Bell.
When's the
KFCs,
last time you've seen a McDonald's go out of business?
Yeah,
never.
Real estate business.
Never.
Yeah,
never ever before. But if you wanted to get a salad or Chipotle, right? Chipotle is familiar, like healthy. I'll have it here and there on a cheat day or something. I don't know what that is, but. Okay. You'll try to go somewhere and you
Cava is like, I want to say.
Oh, it's like Chipotle.
It's one
like
tier
Chipotle.
up from Chipotle.
Okay.
After that is Yalfo's.
Yeah.
So like
it's
if you pay like $9.95 for a Chipotle bowl, you're gonna pay by like $10.95.
Yeah,
for
don't do that as a financial advisor. I wouldn't recommend that.
Tastes really great.
Is it? I've never had Cava. I don't think.
But now
it's
when
more Mediterranean, isn't it?
I love it.
When you go and try to find those places, like, it's harder to find them.
Yeah, they're even more if you have Uber
areas.
Eats,
yeah, McDonald's is so
metropolitan
easy to get
areas and things like that.
And if you guys, like, we all go to the gym here, right? You guys all do cheat days. I like a cheat day. A cheat day, but I feel like shit.
Once a week or
once a week? Sundays. Sundays every day. Go to Dunkin' Donuts, get an iced coffee, get whatever. Yeah. 6 days a week, I'm eating what I'm supposed to do. Right. That day, I don't feel very good at the end of the day when I wrap my day. I'm just like,
so why do it?
Do you think
I like it? I like rewarding myself. We were talking about this in the car. We work very hard.
Well, let me ask y'all then, since everybody works out here, do you guys think that you should be rewarding? And it's not an attack at you, Kiro, but I'm just because I might reward myself with like an actual cheat day, like food. Like I'm gonna go to Chick-fil-A and get a chicken sandwich and a milkshake, maybe like once every like 90 days, maybe once every 60 days.
What kind of milkshake?
Oreo milkshake all day. Yeah, Oreo milkshake.
Oreo
I can't do strawberry.
It's different. Yeah.
You don't do strawberry. Yeah.
Cookies and cream.
Nah, I gotta do
I don't know.
I've
been working out for three and a half years, somewhere around there. I already did this 90-day period shit. I did a whole year without taking a cheat day.
Yeah.
Wow.
And now I deserve it. Listen, I work really hard. I deal with clients. I deal with people. It's a lot of pressure. I need a day where I just don't talk about work and I just reset.
Yeah.
What's your cheat day though? Like, what do you eat?
And is
so
it a
like,
cheat day or a cheat meal?
It's a cheat. It's look. I was used to be skinny, right? Like I'm more full now, but I used to be skinny as a kid. So people always tell me whatever you eat is not gonna affect you because you don't. And I think that's bullshit because I got people and clients to talk to. I need this to be straight, right? Yeah. So the day that I did my cheat day, I go to Dunkin' Donuts in the morning. I get a bacon, sausage, egg, and cheese. Still a lot of protein, right? Iced coffee, hash browns. Middle of the day, I'll eat whatever snacks I want, chips, whatever.
Oh, see, you tripping. I can't do all that.
And at night, and it's not all the time because I don't keep chips. There's no chips in my household.
Glasses off of that one.
There's no chips in my household. There's no chips. There's nothing. I don't keep snacks on.
You reckless, Kiro. What the fuck, Kiro?
I still look good. I'll take my shirt off.
Chips, sausage, bacon. What'd you say? Egg, what? Egg, sausage, biscuit?
But at night, usually I'm having an easy meal and it's back to work 6 days a week. And
okay.
I still look good. That's really all that matters.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But when I'm saying the feeling, how I feel my neurology, whatever, like how I feel my brain.
After you consume this food, it
terrible,
takes a toll.
Lazy,
yeah. Then you
now,
go back to Victoria. Why do you do it then?
Why do I do it? To reward myself. I work very hard.
Yeah, I was about to ask that too.
It makes me feel like shit, but while I'm eating it, it feels good.
But that's like, I mean, and I say this a lot. My bad. I'm gonna let you say something, Izzy. But I say this a lot. Don't trade a moment of pleasure for a lifetime of happiness because I mean, ultimately, it's like instant gratification. It's instant gratification. You know?
I think what Kiro's trying to say is because I mean, I get it as well. You know, and there's different ways that you can reward yourself. Mm-hmm. You wake up at 5 a.m. You work. And then you go to the gym, let's say 11 a.m. After you come back at 1, you reward yourself with a meal, but you don't have your breakfast or your lunch before because you have to have it after. It's like a reward. Like, okay, I can't have breakfast or lunch until I go to the gym. It's the same way if I'm working, if I'm nonstop grinding for a week, I might reward myself with the cigar and the drink, you know? And it's different for everybody. But I'm not gonna have that cigar or that drink if I feel like I don't deserve it, or if I should have put in that hard work. It's just up to you on how you decide to reward yourself.
Somebody else might go to the club or something and get really face drunk. I mean,
don't do that, yo.
I think that's irresponsible though.
Don't go to the club. Right? Don't go to the club and get face drunk.
What Israel is saying though, real quick, you know, what Israel's saying though is you can choose to reward yourself positively, right? So, like, for example, for me, I eat burgers, don't get me wrong, but the kind of meat that I eat is grass-fed, grass-finished. There's no hormones injected to it, right? It's very clean, lean meat.
We
right?
ate before that?
Huh?
Was the meat we ate before, was it that?
Possibly, yeah, but it possibly was.
Kira's been the devil's advocate the whole show.
No, I hope it was.
Here's the thing, though. I'm pretty sure that it was because we didn't go to fucking Chick-fil-A. We didn't go to McDonald's. We went to a high-end restaurant that had quality food. So you can taste it. And right now, look at how we're all feeling. We're all in a high vibration.
I feel good, yeah. I'll say after eating that meal, yeah.
Period. Yeah. So at the end of the day, like, it could even be, for example, you want to take your car out for a drive, right? And you're like, fuck, I did my work. I did what I had to do throughout the day. I'm going to go ahead and take my car for a ride, you know, take it out for a drive, smoke a cigar, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, it's not like, for me, man, I haven't ate fast food in fucking 5-7 years, right? It's been a long time since I've ate fast food, period. So at the end of the day, like,
no shakes, no smoothies.
Nah, fuck that, bro.
Yo, I'm here to tell you, he's being honest. I went last time we went out. I grabbed Cookout. It was like late night. We had just came back, and I was like, "Yo, Jose, you want some Cookout?" He was like, "Nah, man, it's too late, and it's fast food."
Nah, so man, I don't eat that
no
shit.
Cookout.
No. So what do you do if you want to just enjoy something like cake or something?
I mean, yeah, whatever. But here's the thing too. Like, I like to know what I'm eating, and I like to know what I'm putting in my body, right? Like, and even if like, for example, like I'm drinking some Crown right now, right? To me, this is a reward for myself because, again, even to get here, to do this podcast, to do everything that you know I had to do to make myself available today and to sit here with you guys, it's not like I just, you know, took a day off and was like, oh, you know, whatever, I'm just going to do this because I feel like it or because of pleasure. No, right? I got all my shit done, right? Yep. I have no worries in my mind about anything. Everything got done the way that it needed to. So sure, you know, I'll take a sip of this. But when it comes down to fast food, maybe it's a personal problem that I have against these companies. Maybe. I don't know what it
You're
is.
losing the business.
But it's just like, yo, like to me, man.
No toy in the Happy Meal 7 years ago. Ain't have a
Fuck
toy
that
in the
shit,
Happy
bro.
Meal.
Fuck that shit.
No, but look, we gonna do this though. Boom. We gonna do this, bro. Yeah, facts. You know, this is a great show, you guys. I mean, I like, you know, we're all sharing our ideas. We're all, you know, having this conversation, and that's what's important, in my opinion. You know, because somebody's gonna get some sort of value from this conversation, bro. Somebody's gonna get some sort of value. They're gonna, you know, pick up one of these jewels. One of them, they're gonna power up. And for the ones who are watching, like the fucking video, y'all. Stop playing with us, man. I mean, like the video, subscribe. I mean, the Hector Jesus show with Juan Bravo, like, it doesn't get any better than this. I mean, wait till we reach the thousands and start monetizing this bitch. I mean, we got guys from Jersey, heavy duty guys that flew in from Jersey. I believe you flew in first class, Jose, and I throw your business out there, but my boy flew in first class with the green velvet, and the satin lapel.
That was from New York.
So, you know, I think we pretty much, you know, covered everything, you know, slowly but surely. I'm glad all of y'all came. Thank you. Izzy, you live here, but you know, like I told you earlier, I got a personal relationship with Izzy, so he's another young guy that I admire. Kiro, you know, we got a personal relationship. Jose, it was nice meeting you. It's my first time meeting you in person. Yeah. You know,
you met Jose before?
No, I never met Jose. We only ever spoke face to face on over Zoom when Izzy invited me to, and you know what, for the viewers, I just want to, you know, put the stamp on Built from Pain, the Built from Pain movement, because I'll tell you this much. I got on as a guest through Israel, who brought me on, and bro, yeah, no, everything that these gentlemen are saying about that movement is exactly what it is. Like, I think how many people were on that day? I don't know if you guys, maybe like 10 or 15 people, not including me.
On that specific day, yeah.
Yeah, something like that, 10 or 15 people. And I'm sure that was a light day, because I've seen pictures of you guys out. And when I say these guys are deep, these guys are deep. And one thing that I want to bring up from the last conversation we had when I interviewed you the first time via Zoom was the accountability. And you gave an example. I can't remember specifically what it was, and maybe you can articulate a little better than I can on the example you gave. But it was, you know, in a nutshell, basically, one of the guys in your movement told another guy, "Yo, it's okay, just be yourself." And what you basically said was, no, don't be yourself. You know, if there's something wrong in you or some kind of inadequacy in you, fix it. Like, being yourself is what keeps you down. Being yourself is going to keep you weak. I mean, you need to fix yourself if there's something wrong. And that would be the wrong advice to give somebody, especially if they're making an error. But maybe you could, you know, elaborate on that real quick before we wrap it up.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a conversation within the movement, right, where somebody had a realization, right, an epiphany, saying, oh, shit, like, we went out, right, and we were out gaming, and he was like, yo, like, Jose was very smooth, he was very cool, and charismatic, witty, you know, very approachable and easy to get along with, while, you know, on my end, I was kind of, like, rigid, you know, kind of, like, being a square, you know, being too nice, right? And he was like, you know, I don't like that. And then one of the other members commented, like, oh, like, it's okay, you know, it's all right to be nice, everybody's, you know, different. But then I had to, you know, come in there and say, like, no, like, that's not true, because you got to be careful what you say, and you got to be honest with each other, because at the end of the day, what you say to this person, and it's just like, you know, raising your sons, right? If you're raising your son and you want to make sure that he understands his mistakes and that he gets it right. So for me, I saw myself as you know, the leader, and my duty to say, like, well, no, actually, you know, you're right, and I'm glad that you saw that within yourself, because that's a weakness that you want to eradicate. Now, you have to work relentlessly to fix that so that you can be a stronger man, just as I did, right? So it's just about overall improvement and being brutally honest with each other, because at the end of the day, the truth ain't always going to be pretty, and that's what it's about.
I like that word, eradicate.
And that goes into, you know, being around men who you admire and respect, because if you admire and respect them, it's because they're going to check you when you're wrong. They're going to hold you accountable, because someone who's worthy of admiration and respect holds himself accountable. And that's dope, man. I think that that's a dope dynamic, especially as the leader of your group, being able to like, yo, look, man, I'm not here to be liked. I'm not here for you to like me. I'm here for us to get results, you know, and that competence, basically getting them to understand, like, yo, I'm glad you noticed your mistake. I'm glad you identified it. Don't listen to this guy. And I'm sure you had a conversation.
100%.
Pulled him to the side, had a, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Certain things that, hey, look, don't do that no more, whatever, however the conversation went. But, and, you know, again, for those listening, those who are the leaders of their group, that's some stuff you got to do, you know? And if they understand it, good. If they don't, then that's when you start to remove people. I'm sure that, you correct me if I'm wrong, maybe there's been people that you've had to remove from your, or you haven't gotten to that kind of situation where it's like, hey, look, man, we can't really associate ourselves with you no more.
Yeah, no, yeah, 100%. It happens. And the thing is that I'm grateful that it happens because I don't want to just be around, you know, mediocre people, right? The movement is going to be around, you know, for certain quality men that want to improve themselves. And there are certain people that can't take the heat. So if you can't take the heat, you got to get the fuck out the kitchen.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
The show must go on.
What made you start the whole movement?
Yeah, bro. So, you know, like I was saying earlier, man, I didn't see a lot of people a lot of men, so to speak, that, you know, even like, for example, like Hector having this show, right? This is kind of a symbol of why I started the movement, because I just saw a lot of men that, you know, they weren't getting the advice that they needed in their life. And I wanted to have more friends around me, right? I wanted to be around more men that understood that it's important to be mentally strong, that it's important to understand how to fight, that it's important to understand how to communicate and how to be socially calibrated, right? How to lead, how to make money. It's important to be around these things. And I didn't really see anybody step up to the plate, and that's when I had to. So
yeah, that teamwork, I mean, and it's become a cliche, but I think it's very important to continue to say this, is network over net worth. Like, relationships are lifetime. You know, money comes and goes, status comes and goes. One day there's going to be somebody just like you or better that comes and takes your place when you go in your old age. But as far as them relationships that you built, they last forever, you know, if they're done right. And that's something I've always understood, bro. That's why I gravitate to guys like you so much, because I've always understood that you can't make it out here by yourself, you know. And I wanted to go into the socio-sexual hierarchy, but we've been on for 2 hours and we still got to go in, you know, we have a little something planned, so we're still going to have some fun. We're going to take care of business. But I wanted to go into that, you know, because right now, you know, I'm sure these terms, you know, take them for at face value, but these terms, you know, they're being thrown around in this space, right? Alpha male, beta male, delta male, omega male, gamma male, sigma male. There's a lot of like
Terminology.
Yeah, terminology. But as far as there's a lot of like, mystique at the sigma male. That's like the lone wolf. But
Right.
I don't
think
know
that's
what that.
that's very dangerous.
Yeah, yeah, I think it is, because even wolves run in packs, bro.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Birds fly in flocks. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's someone leading the flock and there's someone leading the pack. Even a lion who is the king of the jungle. Well, if we want to get like specific, the king of the savannah. But you know, there's a reason why he's the king. Like he has his lionesses, but when hyenas come, he knows his role. You know, compared to other animals. But even hyenas hunt in packs. You know, and I think that the important thing about it is to understand, like, you know what, where we fit in the social hierarchy, and understand how we can use everybody, because not everybody's the same. You know, a big fish in a small pond, a small fish in a small pond is a big fish, but a big fish in the ocean is small. So understanding, like, a fish roll in schools, you know, it's a school of fish, and they do that for a reason. And understanding, like, building these relationships with men of similar mindset, of similar principles, who, like I said at the dinner table, they walk the labyrinth of life with the same moral compass, the same rules. I think that that's some, you know, it's super important for people to know. This whole, I be out here dolo, I'm a lone wolf, I don't need nobody. You're really just saying you're hard to work with and you're not a team player. You know, let's be honest.
Yeah.
You're not a team player, you're hard to work with, or you're weird and we don't want to fuck with you. Like, you know, but like everybody here, we agreed on some things, we disagreed on some things, we gave our points, you know. at the end of the day, we're human, so we got our own mind, but at least we have enough confidence in ourselves to voice our opinions and understand, you know what, we're 1, 2, 3, 5. We 5 men, 1 girl, one young lady, but you know, we're sharing our views. We're sharing our views, and we respect each other's views. There's this relationship being built. I mean, for the viewers, you know, we just met in the parking lot, and you know, so
It's true, man.
But
For all you know, my name is Paulie.
yeah, right. But we appreciate. We want to wrap it up. You had anything you wanted to add, Juan?
We do a roundtable advice to men that are just not having it their way.
As far as like one thing
Just
that
everybody
we could tell,
say a sentence, because I like when we did that last time.
okay, yeah, word. So we'll do that. For you, Victoria, we'll say one thing that you can
From the woman,
say
from the woman
to
herself.
to the young ladies out there. What it is like being a feminine woman. What it is like, you know, knowing being in your space. What's one thing that you could tell these girls out here?
Advice to the women, I think, do chill. Also, don't like be persuaded too easy, because it's just like if you're a pretty girl, they're gonna tell you what you want to hear. And I think that you should just kind of chill and just like, you know, get to know them as friends and just see how it goes, because you just don't want to be out here. Like, that's not cute. Hot Girl Summer, okay? That's like a fun song, right? But like, do you really want to do that? Probably not. Probably not in reality. So just like be true to yourself, be true to like what you really want to do, be true to your morals and like what you were actually taught, and like, you know, what feels right in your soul.
No hot girl summers. Go ahead, bro.
So one thing I would say is make sure that you guys are putting in the work. You know, it doesn't matter if you're 16, 15, 19, 20, 30. You know, every single day should be a day of work. No days off. Because at the end of the day, if you have your own struggles, your own issues, nobody's going to go there to help you. And you're going to follow. When you go to sleep, you're going to be the one that's going to go to sleep with those issues. So make sure you're taking care of your shit and put in the work.
Kiro, what do you?
Same message. I respect Jose for having his movement, because my whole thought on coming on the plane here was to say something that if some kid could listen to it that was in my position and could pick up on it and transform his life, then I did my job on the podcast, or just coming to speak. Not saying that I had a job, but we're all going to say the same thing, but just learn something new every day as well. Like read books, get books, read them, understand how the world works. I think a lot of suffering comes from not understanding how things work.
And if you don't read them, listen to them.
Read and listen to podcasts and try to not, you know, take a day off, but learn something new every day.
Yeah. Jose?
All I can say is that hot girl summers lead to single mother winners, so you got to be careful with that, all right?
You don't want to be a baby mama.
I'm glad how you flipped that. Yeah, facts.
Yo, so, I mean, look, for real, like, if you're a man listening to this, right, get your shit together, right? And it's okay to be uncomfortable, right? Step out of your environment, because most likely the reason why you're not seeing any success or any changes in your life is because you're not changing your life. But people take that term lightly when somebody says you got to change your life. No, like literally change your life. Your friends that you're around, right? The communication that you have with those friends and with people around you, the kind of mindset that you have, your physicality, your mentality, everything. You got to change your fucking life. So start going out into the world and meeting more people, right? Experiencing the world. Get uncomfortable. It's okay, right? Hit the fucking gym. Do what you have to do, but I mean, shit, if you've been listening to this, we've threw a lot of game at y'all. So take it for what it is and go out there in the world and fucking apply it, period.
That's well said, y'all. That's well said. So in a nutshell, do the work, go out in the world, read some books. No hot girl summers. They turn it up. What'd you say? Single mama winners?
Single mother winners, man. You got to be careful with that.
Yeah, no, you do. But we appreciate everybody that tuned in to the Hector Jesus Show with Juan Bravo. As always, shouts out to the gang, bro. All my greatly ambitious, intellectually noteworthy gentlemen that's aggressively neutralizing the game. The reason why we have these guys here is because they are aggressively neutralizing the game. 365 days of the year. As always, I got my co-host with me, the stock trader, model data, straight alpha, never beta, might just caress your bitch in the elevator, then sit back with a glass of yak and a pair of gators. Peace.